Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. I hope it is as sunny where you are as where I am here in Spain. So today we are going to look at how to tackle security risks for crypto projects. This webinar will be split into two parts. So first of all, we'll look at our research and data here from Hacken into the latest cybersecurity trends and exploits in the space. And then in the second half, we're going to look at some practical steps that you guys can take to protect yourselves, your businesses, and there'll be time to ask questions halfway through, so please do get them into the comments. There'll also be time for an AMA session at the end as well. Okay. My name is Bryn. I'm Senior Business Development Manager at Hacken. I'm a former chef and food product developer, and I originally got into this space because I was trying to automate some of the supply chain elements of my businesses. And I quickly discovered that I needed a private smart contract to be able to protect my strategy, my supply chain from my competitors. I really got the bug as soon as I started my research into the technology. I spent 3 years working in Web3 privacy, co-founded a DAO for Web3 education and adoption with a really nice team. I love to teach, really love to share knowledge with other people, and I love a big challenge. So hence now I work in Web3 cybersecurity really is one of the biggest challenges that this industry faces. Hacken is one of the biggest blockchain security auditors, cybersecurity companies in this space. We've been in operation for 7 years, have over 150 team members, 70 of those are engineers. In terms of projects we've audited, it's over 2,000. We've squished over 8,000 bugs. Love saying that. And we've got 70 plus security engineers on the team. So these guys are working on different verticals. They might be protocol auditors, they might be contract auditors, cryptographers, tackling every element of this technology and its applications. We partner with most of the major centralized exchanges. We do proof of reserves audits for them, penetration testing for them. We've audited and pen tested the European blockchain services infrastructure. We partnered up with CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap for many years. They're the biggest aggregators in the space of projects. And we also contribute to the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance's DeFi risk assessment guidelines. In terms of our network of clients and partners, it's truly global. I always say that there's no job too big or too small for us. We work regularly with small crypto startups, with small teams building really innovative products. We work with big banks who are trying out this technology to upgrade some of their systems. Really, the range for us is quite big. And we love to work on the frontier technology as well. So we've got quite a focus at the moment on not just regulation and adapting to that, but also on stuff like post-quantum cryptography and bringing that into blockchains for the first time. Again, we have a huge network of partnerships as well. We've partnered up with Abu Dhabi Global Markets in the Emirates, and we, review their license applicants to make sure they've got a good cyber security approach. We've got an office in DMCC Dubai, office in Abu Dhabi, office in Lisbon as well, and we're about to open in New York too. In terms of our services that we offer then, so again, we perform audits on the whole blockchain tech stack. So normally we'd start with, maybe the cryptographic primitive, then going on to the protocol layer, then going on to the smart contract layer, and the dApps and the products that are built with that. We offer penetration testing on all areas of the stack as well, from cloud to API, network infrastructure, mobile applications, web applications, you name it. We also offer threat-led penetration testing, which is now mandatory every year in the EU under DORA. CCSS is a service that's focused around access control. We're going to talk a little bit later about that, but really access control is management of data, classified information, passwords, private keys, this kind of stuff. Proof of reserves will be applicable to centralized exchanges, attestations that they've got what they say they have got on the front end. We do tokenomics auditing and design and simulation. We have a bug bounty program called Hacken Proof that's got 35,000 white hat hackers in its ecosystem. And we combine that with our regular audits to offer dual defense crowdsourced approach to auditing. And then we also offer a fractionalized CSIO service as well. So why should we give an S about security? As product developers, we need to avoid hacks. We need to avoid having funds stolen. We need to build system level resilience, and we need the trust of our community in order to have a successful product. This data is presented from our 2024 cybersecurity report. And if you want to access it, you can go to our website, hacken.io, and you can download the full report. There's a lot of juicy information in there if you're an analyst. Today, we're going to look at the top level stuff. But yeah, head over to the website, download the report if you want to dig into the details. Last year, there was $2.9 billion in total stolen and exploited from Web3 protocols. $1.72 billion was access control issues. 607 million was phishing attacks, followed by smart contract exploits, 308 million, and rug pulls, 192 million. A huge amount of money is being taken from these businesses every year. And we're going to look at the trends and how this has developed over time as well. Despite fewer hacks last year, the value that was actually successfully taken was up by 21%. Okay. So we're seeing that hacks are getting more sophisticated, that they're changing over time, the vectors are changing. Really, the cybersecurity battle doesn't end when you go to market after you've had your audit. It's a constant, ever-changing threat vector. You need to be prepared for every outcome. Okay, so whether it's smart contract exploits or protocol code logic isn't very good, the design is flawed, whether there's weak spots in your architecture, from financial attacks, from flash loan attacks, from Oracle pricing being manipulated, this kind of stuff, to private key compromise phishing as well. And also, you really need to make sure you've got good testing and documentation before you go to audit. So we help with all of these moving parts, all of these spinning plates of your cybersecurity approach. By far, the number one threat vector, the number one exploit was access control issues. Last year, this was responsible for 78% of the successful hacks, and it's up 50% from 2023. So a huge shift to access control hacks. This is where key team members are being phished, where the essentially AI tools are being used to spoof the voices of key team members. This happened to Coinbase in a SIM swap attack. We're seeing that North Korean hackers are being hired into dev teams because recruitment policies aren't very secure. And even last week, we saw that one of the former executives of the Ledger, was kidnapped and held to ransom. And luckily, the French police did their job and got these guys quickly. In most cases, crypto hacks are irreversible. It's very difficult to recover funds. So here you can see this huge turquoise section from Q3. Obviously, Q4's recovery efforts are still ongoing, so we're still collecting data about that. This is a lagging indicator, but most of the attacks last year were completely unrecoverable. Our friends at Token Recovery, they helped to recover this kind of exploited funds, and they said to me that the hackers generally are trying to get back to fiat currency. They don't want to stay in crypto too long because it's hard to offload, or they can be tracked and traced wherever they take it, because everything's visible on most blockchains. So they're trying to get into a centralized exchange and cash out. Usually people with fake passports have set up accounts and this kind of stuff. But yeah, generally most of the time it's unrecoverable. Law enforcement around the world is spotty with its ability to freeze assets and to get crypto protocols to freeze them as well. And the other side of this is that cybersecurity budgets in the blockchain space are simply not enough. We see in banking and finance, these companies will spend 20 to 25% of budget on cybersecurity. Over the whole Web2 space, social media, e-commerce, these kind of websites, it's 5 to 10% on average. Web3 in this respect is still the Wild West. these projects spend 2% of the budget on average on cybersecurity, and they get wrecked all the time. We see $2.9 billion being exploited last year. It needs to change, and this is what we are very passionate about providing the services and the offering to be able to help with. Okay, so now we're going to look at some practical steps that everyone can take to protect the project, whether you're a builder, whether you're a lawyer that's advising these companies, whether you're working in a big bank and you're trying to understand this technology for the first time. There's going to be something in here that's relevant to every business in this building with this technology. We will pause as well, so you can take pictures. There's plenty of this that usually people take a lot of photos, so I will pause. And if you have any questions, please write them into the chat, because we'll start to address them as we go through this next section. Okay, so we're going to look at 4 distinct areas here in a security first approach, from team and operations to smart contracts and blockchain protocols, your code, to the infrastructure and the system that you're using, the total system. And then last but by far not least, monitor and incident response. How do you respond to exploits and hacks when they're in progress? A proactive approach. Okay, number 1, securing teams and operations. Your goal is to prevent unauthorized access. And here, really, you need policies in place. You need to have data classification, access control to your key documents, where are you storing your data on the cloud, who has access to it, where are the passwords stored. You'll find, if you look through our audit portfolio, that sometimes we see in our penetration tests, admin passwords baked into the code base, and our pen testers are able to get into that and to find those admin passwords and find exploits. Obviously, we report them and fix them, but a black hat hacker wouldn't do that. They would just take the funds that we're able to access to, or they would get access to more parts of the system to try to steal and phish more data. For example, North Korean hackers exploited LinkedIn phishing, used LinkedIn and GitHub malware to phish and breach Japanese exchange, DMM Bitcoin. So this was quite a long tail campaign over a long time, using LinkedIn to get access, and eventually it loaded some malware into their repo. And they managed to take $308 million in May 2024. Again, very difficult to recapture this funds when it's been exploited. From our side, we obviously regularly deal with smaller projects that don't have the budget for full-time CSIO or full-time compliance officer. So we actually provide this on a fractional basis. You can count on us with 24/7. Our door's always open. We're going to help you apply for licenses, get all your cybersecurity ducks in a row for new regulations, and just make sure that your staff are trained in the right way to handle data, to handle keys, and your system is set up. We have ISO 27001 standard ourselves, and we train along those standards for other companies as well. I'm going to leave this slide up for a while, because I know a lot of people usually screenshot this, but this is a basic checklist that team members and founders, anyone working in a crypto organization, can work through to make sure you are protecting yourself. And this is not just applicable to your work. If you're trading, if you're involved in cryptocurrency outside of your work, then just work through this checklist. It's very useful to protect yourself, when you're dealing with this technology, because again, in most cases, if funds are exploited, if your wallet is accessed by someone else, then you're not going to get the funds back. So, covering 6 areas, from basic device security, making sure you're using separate devices, keeping yourself updated with the latest software. Don't plug in USB devices or scan random QR codes with devices that you interact with cryptocurrency with. Just try to encrypt where you can and have a good passwords management situation. Web browsing, be careful where you're browsing on the web. Check certificates, check the websites are legit before you access them. Use a VPN. Bookmark the sites that you use all the time. Your exchanges, your service providers, bookmark their sites to make sure that scammers can't send you the wrong link. Using password manager is a good idea for authentication, authorization. Make complex passwords. Don't use the same password for everything, especially if you're developing a really nice product that you don't want your competitor to steal. Avoid sharing one account with multiple people. Make sure you've got good separation of different business verticals within your system architecture. Use two-factor authentication. I'm not even going to say where possible. Use it everywhere, everywhere you can. Email, again, using long passphrases and 2FA. Check sender addresses. We see that hackers are able to spoof legitimate email addresses and able to to get access to your systems by sending you fake links or very convincing emails. Review any attachments. Don't open PDFs that you're not sure who the sender's for, or you're not sure why you're going to receive this PDF document. With crypto wallets, seed management is a whole topic. We could talk all day about how to manage your mnemonic and your seed phrase, whether it's like inscribing it on metal or chopping it up and giving it to all your different family members around the world. Have a plan. This is the main thing. Have a plan and stick to your plan. Even succession as well. I'll mention that as well, because it's important to think about what if something happens to you, are your family going to be able to access your assets? Use passphrases where you can on wallet applications as well. When you're buying crypto, you can use centralized exchanges that you can trust. Check our website, sir.live. We publish a lot of research into the different cybersecurity approaches of exchanges, particularly centralized exchanges. You can check CER.live and you can see which one has had penetration testing, which one has bug bounty, which one has insurance fund. If they get hacked, are you going to get your funds protected? Are you going to get your funds back? Or haven't they got that fund in place? And with DEXs, with non-custodial entities where you are signing transactions, use only those with secure smart contracts. So check if they've had an audit. You can go to our portfolio on audits.hacken.io and check there for all of our work. Okay, then, second part of this practical steps, securing your infrastructure. Now we need to look at the entire system in order to prevent data breaches and private key compromises. Especially this is relevant in the EU now with DORA. And this is a marked change from how crypto developers have been used to working. So having a smart contract audited, going to mainnet was the approach, last year. And smart contract hacks were the biggest factor back then as well. But now really it's about looking at the entire system. What third-party service providers are you using? Where are you hosting on the cloud? Looking at your entire system and your product included as well. So that all comes into your infrastructure. And under the EU's new regulation, it is required to do a full risk assessment and incident response plan for that system as well. That's something that we can help with. We can help you to analyze your system, the gaps, and how you will respond to incidents. Just to give you an example again from last year, was Xerex $230 million access control hack from compromised signer keys, and someone managed to get access to their exchange multi-sig. So yeah, they lost a ton of money there. Number 3, securing your smart contracts and protocols. So the goal here is to prevent on-chain hacks and attack vectors. So really making sure that your code and your documentation, your testing is phenomenal. This is something that we do with our clients in the pre-audit phase. So the first step for us always is to look at the code and do a deep analysis, and then we publish a report, pre-audit report with some recommendations to get ready for the audit. Then once you go through your audit, have your smart contracts audit, have your blockchain protocol audit, and don't stop there. We, for example, have dual defense, where after the audit's complete, we're going to open a 30-day bug bounty pool, and our community can stake coins in this pool. It's all gamified, but hackers, white hat hackers, security researchers have the chance to find critical issues. If we've missed something, they have the chance to compete for this prize. It runs for 30 days after the audit's complete. Essentially, our customers get 2 audits for the price of 1. And it's been very popular. We really want to avoid these situations like PlayDAP, where they have $290 million exploited from, again, an access control vulnerability in the token smart contract. This time, the attacker managed to add themselves as an official minter of the coin. They were able to print as many as they wanted. They changed the circulating supply and were able to extract a lot of value before the jig was up. So, again, why should you take an audit? We're not the only provider of audits. There's lots of fantastic companies out there doing this work. We collaborate with many of them on Hack and Proof on a crowdsourced audit approach. You need to detect the vulnerabilities that your dev team don't notice. Okay, devs aren't perfect. They're going to miss things. They're going to make mistakes, and we're here as a third party to come in, another set of eyes to make sure that this code is secure. We go line by line through every line of the code with 2 auditors. That's our approach, and this is why our reputation is so good. You're going to get some expert advice on how to improve your functionality, improve your product. The next time you add an extra feature, you're going to have best practice in mind. You're going to have tooling from us like fuzz testing and invariance testing that you can take forward through your product development. For your community, having a good audit from a good auditor really improves your reliability, your trust. They're going to have trust in your product. You can do a big marketing push, an amazing token launch, an amazing product launch with this badge of honor. And you've simulated all of the outcomes. You know what this product is going to do before it gets deployed onto mainnet. Super, super important. Okay, how to prepare for the audit. So our checklists, what we will provide you in the pre-audit stage, and all the other auditors do this as well, I believe, maybe with different methodologies. Functional requirements, technical documentation, setup. We're going to set up your development environment. We're going to ask you for access to clean and executable versions of your repo. So cleaning up the code base, making sure it's executable, looking at the dependencies. We're going to verify the scope with you to make sure that exactly what you want us to look at is in the scope and what we feel we should look at as well. So if there's parts of the code that call in other parts of the product, and we feel like this is vital to have in the audit, we're going to recommend that we do that. And then access to unit testing as well. So after your audit is complete, then you go to mainnet. The game is not over. You've not finished with this cybersecurity battle. You have to have some kind of post-deployment solution, some kind of forward proactive approach to new attack vectors, to old attack vectors that might have been missed as well. So a bug bounty is a great way to do that. You can set up a bug bounty on Hack and Proof. You can pay these 35,000 white hats with your own coin from your protocol, from your dApp. I believe you can have vesting schedules as well in that. And you'll see on there we've got bug bounties active with Ethereum Foundation, with Sui, with Nia, with Polygon, with Ton, some of the biggest blockchains and ecosystems in the space. And again, we collaborate with other security companies there as well, so they can come in and tackle bug bounties alongside these independent security researchers as well. Nia, for example, this is a great example. They have a $1 million bug bounty on the protocol layer. Critical issues have been found there. They would have had losses of 40 million. They saved, a lot of money, $39 million here on these issues being found by a white hat and not a black hat. It is always cheaper to pay a white hat than a black hat. Okay, and again, last but not least, having an incident response platform in place, having real-time monitoring in place is super, super, super important. If someone manages to get access to your protocol, manages to execute an exploit, and you don't respond fast, so in Ronin's case here, it took them 6 days to do anything about the biggest ever hack in Web3. You're just going to have a bad time. Your customers' trust, your community's trust is going to be gone. You're not going to. It's going to be very hard to recover that. Your business idea that you dream is going to be ruined essentially, because you didn't have monitoring, because you didn't have a response plan, you didn't prepare enough in advance. So our response to that is we've developed a platform initially to monitor and to react to hacks in progress. And now, as the regulations are becoming more sophisticated across the EU, particularly the Middle East, particularly, and we're really looking at America to see what happens there next. It's also a great compliance monitoring tool as well. So you need to report now to the regulator all of this anti-money laundering transactions, all of the times people have tried to exploit or hack your contracts. All this stuff now needs to be reported, and our system allows you to do that. It's called Extractor. You can test it for yourselves at extractor.live. Anyone in the free trial gets access to 2 contracts. So you can plug them in. It's live on over 20 blockchains. Most of them are EVM, several non-EVM chains as well. And you can use it to monitor and add detectors. So for lots of different attack vectors. So we're talking anti-money laundering and blacklist management, okay? Your response there when Extractor detects this kind of activity is probably going to be to freeze the blacklisted account from being able to transact through your protocol. And then you're probably going to want to keep a record for the regulator. But if someone is trying to execute a mint and burn attack or, a circulated supply change, we have a detector specifically for that attack vector, for liquidity drains, for DNS hijacking, for protocol level attacks, for address poisoning, for changes to contract code and hash verification, for changes to GitHub repos. All of these different attack vectors are covered within Extractor. It's a very customizable system. You're able to set the parameters of what activity would be suspicious, what would be anomalous, what should be responded to, what should the response be. So do check it out. If you're building a product, and it's already on mainnet, this is an awesome tool. We use AI extensively in that because, let's face it, we can't all be online 24/7 as much as some of us would like to. So we essentially have this AI-powered cop that's on duty all the time. He's protecting contracts, wallets, nodes, APIs, multi-chain infrastructure. It allows you to automate your compliance flow. So again, you're going to have to do a lot of reporting under the new regulations. Extractor is the tool you need to be able to provide that very quickly and easily whenever you are required to. And it can also alert you. So, if you have a very serious incident happening, Extractor is going to be pinging you on your chats, on your Slack, on your email, whatever you set it up, custom HTML notification, however you set this up to be able to alert you and get you active, get you in there to do the post-mortem investigation. So last year in Q3, 30% of all the successful hacks in DeFi could have been prevented if they had an automated response system. These projects could have saved 25.6 million that was stolen. In most of these cases, the funds were irrecoverable as well. If they had some kind of real-time monitoring in place, if they were working under MiCA compliance in the EU, they would have been able to prevent this loss. They would have saved their reputation. They would have saved the trust of their community. They would have been able to continue building their products and making it a success. However, DeFi was one of the biggest sectors for successful exploits in 2023. That's now gone down because they've got more robust security practices, but centralized exchanges has skyrocketed, more than doubled actually in terms of successful attacks last year. So centralized exchanges, now it's on you to pick up the pace, to pick up the cybersecurity game, because it's just simply not good enough. Okay, with that in mind, let's recap a little bit. So key areas you should be looking at: your operations and infrastructure. You can use us as virtual CSIO for expert cybersecurity leadership should you require. Have a look back at the checklist for the teams. Again, the slides will be posted into the comments and descriptions on the YouTube video. You can check back to that, print it out, put it on the wall of your office if you're in a physical location. Make sure everybody is following those guidelines. Secure your network and devices, protect your cloud and infrastructure. We can help you with that via our pen testing team. Securing your software development lifecycle then. So if you're developing a product, if you're about to hit mainnet, if you're going through your testnet phase right now, talk to us because we can help you to build along best practices. We can help you with the documentation and testing elements. Having the audit obviously is essential now if you want to launch a product or get investment in this space. And we can also host bug bounties for you as well on Hacken Proof. When it comes to monitoring incident response, you need a system online 24/7. We've got Extractor. That's our response to these ever-changing attack vectors. You need a tool that allows you to utilize AI to protect your products, and you need to be able to go back to the regulator with reports whenever you're required to as well. So this is a tool that helps to tackle that. Okay, so with all that in mind, it's been an absolute pleasure to present this webinar to you today. If anybody is watching and has any questions or queries, you can scan the QR code here and access all of my links here on this link tree. Please reach out to us if you are building a product and you've got any concerns about anything that we've covered here. Again, if you would like to access our data and research, you can head to hacken.io and download that. We update every quarter, so I'll be doing this again, I assume, in a month and a half with the Q1 update from this year. So we'll see how the trends have changed. We're going to keep fighting back against hackers, scammers, and criminals in this space. Our main mission in Web3 is to make it a safer place to do business. And thank you for joining us on this journey. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye. So I will open it up to questions. If anyone has got a question, I believe you can post in comments on LinkedIn, YouTube. Potentially Twitter is working today with their integration as well. So if you have any questions, I'll keep it open for a couple of minutes. Please feel free to ask away. I see we've got 268 people watching right now, so fantastic that so many people are interested in cybersecurity on a Thursday afternoon. Really nice to see. I want to give you all a big welcome, and you know, if you do want to reach out privately, of course, our door is always open. I do not see any questions coming in yet, so I'll give it a few more seconds, maybe half a minute more, and then we're going to end the stream. Okay, I think we'll call it a day there. Oh, one just came in just in the nick of time. LinkedIn user, very nice privacy approach here, LinkedIn user. Are you sure it is a good idea to operate through a KYC centralized exchange? What if the data on how much a person has bought is leaked? What a good question. What a good question. So concerning centralized exchanges, very important to look, where are these companies set up? Are they in the Europe? Are they in France or Germany? Somewhere where they have to follow very strict regulation? Are they in the USA, for example? Or are they offshore? Are they set up on an island somewhere where there's no GDPR, where potentially data about you that through your KYC could be bought and sold, you know, and breached? So it's a very important consideration. Which exchanges are you using? You know, in the EU now we have MiCA and DORA regulations. So all of these companies that want to do business with EU citizens and residents, they're going to have an EU company. They're going to have very strict cybersecurity requirements, and they're going to have to operate in a transparent manner with people's data not being available to be stolen. A really good question. Really appreciate that. And if you want to ask, if you want to dive a little bit deeper into that, please shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming in, so thank you very much, everybody. It's been again a pleasure to join you here today and talk about this stuff. Let's make Web3 safer. Over and out.